Hey guys, it's another episode of Survival Guide to Life. And on this episode, it was kind of unique. I was just randomly creating a Facebook ad for this podcast. And while I was picking the audience, I picked it towards people who are in fitness or influencers, coaches. And I came across Alec's profile, and I have Alec here at live. I'm gonna just have him give him a brief intro about himself, so you know who Alec is.
Yeah, for sure, brother. First off, just want to say thanks for hitting me up and bringing me out here. I'd love to be able to do this stuff and talk and communicate as much as I can on my story and be able to hear other people's stories. So, just a quick background on me. Just finished up college, entrepreneurship major, and just have a really strong passion for helping people through fitness and nutrition and really trying to transform lives through people's health and stuff like that. So have a experience of just an athletic background, playing a lot of sports, and really starting to enjoy the whole marketing and advertising side behind a lot of businesses. And I would say that's kind of a small glimpse of my past and where I've gotten to now.
So, how did you come up with your fitness program or your idea for it?
It really started, years back, just, early training days, just training for sports, trying to get,
what sports
ready
did you
for
play?
the next season. So growing up, originally when I was really young, I started playing baseball. That was my first sport. Eventually, my close friend of mine wanted me to try out for the local football team, see if I could help out the team. And once I did, I just really never looked back. That turned out to be my most successful sport. So football, played rugby also in high school. A little bit of basketball, junior high, a little bit of soccer. I love to stay active and play as many sports as possible. So.
Yeah, no, it's important. I think just fitness in general is important, and I feel like a lot of people during this whole pandemic, that's like one thing that everyone probably is like lacking on.
Yeah. That's huge, man. There's a lot of, keeping us indoors. People got to stay active somehow, so sports are the best way. That's my kind of outlet this past month or two, is playing a lot of basketball outside, just going for walks, things of that nature.
So are you a fan of kettlebells?
Oh yeah, man, dude, kettlebells are freaking bomb.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking of just getting just 2 kettlebells. That way, with that, you can just go into so many variations, and you could do a lot of compounds. And I was like, that would not gain much mass, but I could develop some, keep up my strength at least.
Yeah, no doubt. A few months back, I was in a really strong groove of doing a lot of functional training, and kettlebells were my number one basically source of equipment. Was you basically do tons of different movements, very easy to transition from one to the next using kettlebells versus, let's say, dumbbells and machines. So yeah, kettlebells are money.
So no, Alec, I have a question. When you go to the gym, you always see the guys, doing a bicep curl, or they go and do the tricep pull down. I just wanted to make it clear, doing that is not going to gain you mass, correct? You need to do compound workouts that release testosterone, like bent over rows, squats, stuff that works out more, power cleans, the bicep curls and tricep pull downs are for definition.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think yes and no to that. I think there's always a time and a place for each movement and each type of training style. I do think compound movements and a lot of very major muscle group exercises will always benefit muscle growth the most, only because they are stimulating the most muscles at the time, versus an isolation exercise where you're pinpointed on maybe not a primary muscle group but a secondary muscle group. To answer that question, basically bicep curls, tricep extensions, those kind of maybe isolation exercises would benefit people more. Yeah, let's say after a compound exercise, or even as a
different body size, right? Like it was like it wouldn't benefit an ectomorph as much as it would benefit an endomorph.
Yeah, no, exactly. As far as like people's body styles go, if you had more of that, V-tapered triangle or upside down triangle, body style, you'll most likely benefit from more isolation exercises because your physique already looks already wide up top, maybe tight down low. But let's say if you're the opposite or maybe rectangle body style, compound movements are definitely going to be the way to kind of overall transform your physique a lot quicker than expected. So that's a good way to look at it.
So now, like, do you have any like current like plan you're on, or like is there any fitness goals that you're trying to achieve for yourself?
Yeah, man. So I would say quarantine was definitely the hardest time for me as far as my overall, fitness journey had went. To kind of push me into a new way of training and dieting. But now that things are getting back rolling again, kind of back to my old style of just making sure I'm hitting my macros daily, my water intake, stuff like that, the basics, sleeping, but my training style. Starting to
really quick before you go on, how important is sleeping, bro? Because I feel like a lot of people, including myself, like don't give that enough attention.
Yeah, man. I mean, shout out Whoop. I had wear this wearable watch, and it tracks my sleep. It has 5 different metrics, and I mean that thing has changed my sleep schedule immensely. And I notice when I'm not wearing it, things change. But basically, what that does is it tracks, how well you're sleeping, how well you're in deep sleep, REM sleep, such like that. But overall, man, I think sleep is it's a game changer. If you think of your body as a battery, or even like an electric car, like a Tesla nowadays, how are you going to expect that vehicle or that battery to perform when it's only at 10, 15, 20% battery versus, fully charged? Imagine if you get your sleep every night, how you're going to perform that next day versus, not being charged, not being fueled, taking the right steps, man. That's just something I even look past. And
yeah, I didn't even think of it like that. That like makes sense. Like I'm over here thinking like, oh, it's cool, just give like push it, but
right.
Like I'm actually just hindering from like performing better.
Yeah, dude. Sleep's one of those things that just gets looked past. Water as well, just water intake. That's a huge thing. I feel like those, maybe small, minute details get looked past, but I think the people that really hone in on those are really the ones that can take a few steps forward before taking, additional step back.
So now, like, with going to the gym and stuff, like, another thing that I noticed is, like, you got, like, it's like a contest, like, kind of, like, with certain people, they're, like, just lifting, just trying to get the weight, but you look at their form, and they're not even working out the muscle they should be. Like, how important do you think it is not to, like, focus on, like, being able to get that weight, just get the motion of that exercise down, and with time you'll get more weight.
Yeah. I think that's a controversial thought. I think a lot of people might go against this. You might even too, when it comes to form. I think form is extremely important. But let's say you're an athlete who's been training for months, if not even years, has a lot of experience underneath their belts. I think those are the type of athletes or the lifters that can necessarily maybe stray away from like being so perfect with their form. Let's say they get their 8th rep, their 9th rep, their 10th rep, and they really try and push those extra last 2. I think in those cases, those people can push it. They have they have that functionality, that mobility in their body, most likely, if they've been training for a while,
like
to
Christian
be able
Bale.
to keep it safe.
Huh?
What's that?
Christian Bale.
Yeah. Yes. Right. Exactly. You're Batman. You'll be good.
Dude, no, it's just crazy how quick or how much he gains weight? He's got to be taking like pro hormone or something, right? You can't...
Dude, I think being a high-end actor, those things, they get the best nutrition, they get awesome training advice, and man, they kill it. And those people are just special too. They work hard, they do the right steps. So those superheroes, they're heroes for a reason.
No, yeah, heard wrong. It's just so. Do you watch any UFC or boxing at all?
Sometimes when these big fights, these pay-per-view events have been going on, I've watched a few with some friends. I wouldn't say I follow it as close as I do other things.
So then, like, what's more of your like the crowd of, or like the audience of your your like the people you coach?
Yeah, definitely. I would say my age group, college athletes right now, but also like just the average Joe.
Quick, you want to give out your Instagram, Facebook, so everyone.
Yeah, for sure. You can find me anywhere just searching my name, Alec Fidan. You can also find my fitness page on Instagram at Fidan Fitness. And my packages are all through the links in my bios for all my social media. So searching Alec Fidan would be the easiest way.
And I'll have all the URLs. I'll have all the URLs hyperlinked in the bio as well. So now, when coming into this whole like coronavirus, and you didn't have the gym, and like you're trying to be innovative. What were some exercises you came up with to just keep your body in groove?
Yeah, so right at first, probably the first 2-3 weeks, all I had was a few sets of resistance bands. So, getting creative with those. I basically would either set a timer for a certain amount of time and try and perform as many exercises as I can in that time slot. So I set a clock for 20 minutes. I was trying to get basically as much work, as many sets,
like a super
set as I could. Yeah, it was a giant superset, basically just 20 minutes of, I try to get like 30, close to 30 sets done in that time, and you're cooked. I think, especially in quarantine, not being able to, change weights, change resistance, it's really hard to essentially put on, lean muscle mass. So the best way to do it is basically hit it hard, long rep ranges, and really push that endurance and keep that cardiovascular.
So that's important then, because I notice, even sometimes myself, I'll be lifting, and then, right when I start feeling, like a tightness or, feel the burn, that's when I, all right, I'm done. But that's when I should really be pushing it.
Yeah, no, that's, those extra few reps, that's really what, essentially makes those champions, is what they say. And, like I said earlier with the form thing, if you've been, taking a few months off, let's say in quarantine, you really do want to be pushing correct, perfect form. But once you get a few months, maybe possibly a year under your belt, yeah, push those extra reps, man. And even, especially if you're feeling good some days, you don't want to settle short. Keep on pushing, try to go up 5 pounds, whether it is this, just always trying to improve. Extra rep there, extra set there.
So, how much of a thing is muscle memory and just doing the same workouts week in, week out?
So science says that doing 2 sets of an exercise is enough for your body to kind of memorize it and at least be able to practice it one more time. So when I would be training my clients, I'd at least have them do 2 sets of something. But I think the more practice, the more repetition at anything, the more just your body's going to memorize it. And so let's say you're doing compound movements. I think that's the best when you could really start upping the sets, 5-6 sets of something. But isolation work, is really just to take your time, isolate that muscle. You're good with 3 sets, 4 rounds, maybe something like that. I think, training styles, it's all about being creative, and, not necessarily, it's not about really how you're doing so much of rep ranges, sets of that nature. It's really about how much effort you're putting into.
Okay, more how much effort you're putting in, more of, are you really giving it your all, or are you just lying to yourself?
Yeah, we could be doing, let's say, 8 reps of something, and someone could go in, they could do it at a 1 second tempo. Their set's going to be done in, let's say,